Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to the Digital to Dice podcast. I am Dave.
I'm Ron.
And Ron, we got the big 250 this week.
My goodness.
That's it, 250 episodes, and you got my goodness?
250 in 2025.
Okay, go on. I feel like I'm trying to shove coal into the furnace here to get you going here. What's going on?
Wow, I'm excited.
What happened? Did you have a low-energy mailbag the other night, or what? What's going on?
No, that was last week. No, 250 is quite the accomplishment. I mean,
it sounds like you are overly thrilled.
I'm half asleep, but that's besides the point.
Well, we are recording at 2 a.m, so it's the only time we could do it. So.
The coyotes woke you up.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I come home
the coyotes woke you up, and you wanted to record. My wife is huddling in the cold living room, asleep, because you wanted to record at 2 a.m.
I get home at 11, and I unpack the truck. It takes me 5 or 10 minutes to unpack the truck. They're freezing cold, by the way. I get in the house, and I sit in the chair. And I hear the thing howling outside my window. I just missed him. It's like he probably was sitting there watching me unpack the truck. It's a good thing he stayed away from me. It's just like, come on, because the left side of the house is the dark side. When I'm walking in the front door, I can't see because that's where the wood is. The woods are, and that's where he is.
Is that where Pink Floyd hangs out, on the dark side of your house?
It might be. It was good in around Christmas time.
That was way over your head.
Oh, I did. I got the Pink Floyd reference. I did. But the wife put up Christmas lights on that side of the house and a couple of trees on that side. So when they were on at night, they were white. So they lit up that side so I could see. Okay. I could see if the coyote was kind of hanging out over there. And she took the lights down, and now I can't see over there again. So it's just really dark over there at 11 o'clock when it's cold. And then I come in and I hear him howl, and it's like, oh, you son of a gun.
Don't you have a trail camera?
I had one, and then the batteries kept dying. Somebody suggested I put up a Ring camera, and they work like a long time, and they'll just aim it at the woods, and
right.
Pick up. So I might do that. I'm looking at that.
They have infrared, right? Because this mostly happens at night.
I think so, yeah. The trail camera was pretty good. It picked up a lot of things. I got a lot of things I didn't know what they were. I don't know if they were raccoons or skunks or fish or cats, but, the rabbits you can tell. But there's a few things like, what was that? Because it's all in that weird, night vision stuff, But, yeah, I got to go back to that because the lady next door says, yeah, she sees 2 or 3 of them running around every day. So I'm like, oh, boy.
I'm not quite sure what I was poking around looking at, but I had an Alf clip pop up in my Facebook feed.
Oh.
Speaking of things that were going there, and the clip was that the neighbors had discovered him, and so that the family that had him was trying to hide him. Oh, and so it was a 3-minute clip of that, and she goes on some talk show and kind of like a Morton Downey Jr. just before Morton Downey Jr. And so, yes, but yeah, because you posted that last year, the trail cam of the coyotes.
Yeah, that was a fun time doing that last year. But then the thing died. I would put fresh batteries in, and I'd go out to get it, and there'd be no videos, and it would be dead. All the batteries were dead. It's the cheapest. And one night, I can't keep putting like 8D batteries in here every night.
Oh, no, my God, those are, yeah.
So I have a plug right where I was going to aim it, so I might see if I get one I can plug in, or if I can get one of those Ring cameras supposedly they last a long time outside in the cold, too, so... We'll see. We'll get some more coyote footage going. Unfortunately, I put in fact, that when I come home a little after 11, the dog's looking at me to go out and says, it is really cold. You don't want to go out, even to take one last pee. So he's like, fine. So he jumped back up on the couch. And if I had let him out, he would have gone right to the fence, and then the coyote would have been there. So I'm glad I didn't, I just don't need any issues.
No, not right. No, not right now.
Yeah, no, not ever. Actually, I don't need coyotes.
Not ever. Not that way.
So. Yeah. So anyways, this is the Digital to Dice podcast. Aside from coyotes and weather, we talk about a lot of other things, including tabletop sports gaming and PC sports gaming. Ways to get a hold of us: digitaltodice.com is the website. That's digitaltodice.com. 978-751-DICE is the text line. digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the best way to get a hold of us with the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. And if you'd like to be a Patreon on the show and support the show so we can keep this going, as we're in year 6 right now.
Yes.
And it's all thanks to your support. Patreon.com/digitaltodice. And you can be a supporter of the show for $2 a month or $5 a month. We don't ask much, but it just kind of helps us pay the bills and keep on going here with our show into year 6. So again, this is episode 250, and what we're going to talk about today is something that was brought up. I don't know. I think it might have been put on Facebook, one of the groups, and someone was asking.
No,
about,
it was a comment on a video I did on season ticket football.
Okay, it was on YouTube. Okay, but it was out in social media somewhere, and somebody was asking. I think it was you, and I thought I saw this somewhere else too, Ron. It might have been the same person.
I think it's come up a couple different times, but
and someone was asking about in season ticket football. When you throw a pass, why is it sometimes it doesn't matter who the quarterback is? Something to that effect, that the quarterback sometimes has no effect on a pass play, and they were asking that question. And so that question was actually addressed by the creator of the game, Clay Dresslock, in the last Sports Sim magazine. Okay, ironically, he addressed that question in the magazine, so he addressed it before this question was asked. And that brings up a lot of other questions, too, about the games we play. Is how we're playing these games, and how come not everyone is involved in the play, no matter what the sport is? And we'll expand on that when we get into the topic there. But we're going to talk about why quarterbacks aren't involved in every play, why pitchers aren't involved in every pitch, and we're going to talk about the games we play and what goes on with that, and our thoughts on that. And I'll also read Clay's explanation from the magazine as well. So before we get to all that, why don't we? It's been a while since we talked about what we're playing, because last time we had a guest on, and then we had the New Year's show, and we had all kinds of goodies happening. So So why don't we find out what we're playing here? Hang on, let me see if I can hit the right button. Hang on, Jacket.
Okay.
All right, I'm 1 for 1 with the music sting button here in 2025.
You screwed up a couple on New Year's.
Yeah, but that doesn't count, because that's until I start signing my checks 2025, then it's really not 2025. I'm still signing them 2024.
You're still signing them 1985. What are you talking about?
So anyway, let's see what I've been playing. Well, I think everybody saw that I've been playing Apple Master Edition baseball.
Yeah.
Holy cow! I don't know what happened with that. I was playing some APA, having some fun with it, and I was playing a bunch of baseball games, season ticket and strat and pocket pennant run. I was playing all the baseball payoff pitch. I was playing a bunch of baseball games, and I don't know how it even come up, but all of a sudden I was like, I wonder what this master game would be. Because I watched some videos on it, and people talking about how complex it was and how all this extra math you do and all this other stuff. And I says, it's not for me. And for some reason, I says, I want to try it. So I found a used copy of the game, of the book, rather, and I started playing it. And I watched a lot of videos from Tebow. Tebow's got some great videos on this. He really does.
He is the Pied Piper for that, for sure.
And after watching his videos, it all made sense. I mean, he kind of answered all the questions, like looking at all the ratings on the card, how they affect the game. And my concern was I read something about or watched something about, pitchers' ratings changing. And I'm like, oh, geez, is this going to be a slog? And how is this going to work? And, taking away home runs and all this other stuff. But you know something? I started playing it. I went live with my very first game. Hadn't even played it before. I went live on YouTube, and I got through it.
You did really well with it, too.
I had 1 or 2 hiccups, and Dwayne March was in there, and he helped me figure out the rare play, because I got rare plays, which is pretty cool. And he helped me solve one of the rare plays. I just wasn't sure how to do it. And then there was another thing, I think Tebow was in there and helped me out with one other thing. But for the most part, I got through the whole game. Mm-hmm. And it's a lot more looking up. There's a lot more things to do, but that's the beauty of it. And I really, really, really liked it, because it's, the base. I like the basic game, but it's just, okay, it's a hit in the left, and it tells you where the runners go. In the master game, sometimes it tells you where they go, but a lot of the times, if you hit to the outfield, whether it's a fly ball or whether it's a ground ball, and you get a number. And that number, and you roll to see what that number is going to be. Sometimes it's a static number. Sometimes it can be one of 2 or 3 different numbers. And that tells you how far away from the fielder the ball was hit. The higher the number, the more work the fielder had to do to get it, the better the chances the runner's going to get the next base, if you follow that. Mm-hmm. And that just made it so fun, because you look at that number, and then you factor in the fielder's arm and the runner's speed, and that gives you how many chances out of 36 you have to make the next base. So you roll your 11 to 36, Let's just say you have 18 chances. Well, that's 11 to 33 because that's half of 36 chances is 18. So you decide if you want to take the extra base or tag up or what you want to do, and then you can try for the throw to the plate and the whole bit. And that just adds such a new dimension to the game. It really does. When I hit it to the outfield and I look, even like the left field on a single with a man on first, I'm going to look at that number, and I'm going to see who's in left field, see how far away from him that ball went. So if you get the highest number, that means you have to travel a little bit for it. Now you got a few more chances of sliding into third base. So I look at his arm, I look at my runner's speed, and sometimes I try to take that extra base. And it is so satisfying when you do that gamble and you get in there and take the extra base. It just feels really fun, like you've kind of beaten the throw and beaten the game, and your decision mattered and the whole bit. And I always played APA Basic because I didn't have to make decisions. But doing this now, it is super, super fun. I'm loving the base running, and it is math. I'm not going to lie, it is math. But it's just you do the math to get how many chances, and then you decide, I only get 10 chances out of 36. I don't know if I want to take that chance, So that's what you do. I like the pitcher rating. How instead of just ABC now, you have a number grade. And depending on which batter you face, they have lefty-righty splits on the batter cards, and that'll change that pitcher rating up or down. And that'll either could help the pitcher take away a hit, or it could, put a hit back on the board that it used to take away. So it's really, really fun having those pitcher ratings. The stealing is all redesigned. It's not automatic anymore. You actually have a chart to look at to see if the guy can steal. He's got a couple different stealing ratings, one for how often he steals and one for his speed. So that's all factored in. You have a move to first by the pitcher and a throwing arm by the catcher, which factors in. So for the most part, anytime you're trying to run or take an extra base, you're looking at the fielder's arm and then the runner's speed is kind of what it is.
Kind of dovetails into the topic of the show today.
Yeah, and now we'll dovetail in with that. So it's just kind of fun. So on a steal, it's, the pitcher's move to first, the catcher's throwing to second, and then the runner's speed, and you kind of have a little formula to figure out how many chances to get in there. Everything's about chances. Everything's about that 11 to 66 roll. How many of those 36 chances do you get to be safe? I'm really enjoying it. I mean, there's so much it's different enough from the basic game that I'm just enjoying. It's more APA, it's more baseball, it's more decisions for me to make. And as one who doesn't like to make many decisions, I'm enjoying this because it's just you feel like you're the base coach out there. Now you got a hit, and it's like, well, how many outs? Do I want to try to take third base? Do I want to try to score? I've had some great plays at the plate where I just snuck in or I was thrown out. You also check for drops. Anytime you throw somebody out, you check for a drop. And I almost had the catcher drop the ball at the plate after he tagged somebody out. It was. I think it was a C9 and I had a C8, and it's got to be exact. That's how close it came. I thought it was just pretty darn cool. I really did. So I'm having so much fun with the APA Master Edition, and someone said, "Are you going back to basic?" And it's like, well, a lot of people say once you go to the Master Edition and get good at it, it's hard to go back. And I've only played 4 games, and I've had no issues at all. And I heard people talk about how difficult it was and how ice cream headache. It's like I'm not getting any of that. I'm enjoying the expansion of the ratings, the expansion of players' speed and arms coming into play. I think it just works really well. And I'm like I say, I'm kind of an APA guy. I like to read the cards and go to the charts and get the things there. And not every play is a Master Edition play. I mean, with nobody on base, a lot of times it's still basic mode stuff. And I like checking for the fielding ratings to see if there's going to be an error. So on some things, you'll hit it down to whatever base, and you'll have to roll to see if that fielder is ratings 1, 2, or 3, or whatever the rating is. And so on the book, it's like fielding 3, fielding 2, fielding 1 is kind of how the book goes in APA. And so a lot of times you roll to see, and the best guy has a small chance of being the worst fielding and giving up an error, and the worst guy has a small chance of making the play, and that really makes it work too, because now you're working the individual players in, not just the general defense. And I was like, "Ooh, I'm liking this. I'm really liking this." So it kind of addressed some of the things that were missing for me in the basic game, and it's not overly complicated either. So I'm enjoying it. I did get the ballpark effect charts too. I haven't used them yet. They just come in the other day. So yeah, I mean, it's been fun. It's been really fun. It takes longer to play, obviously, because there's more things to do, but they're fun things to do. Now, as far as the accuracy compared to the basic game, is it better? Is it do this or do that? I can't really speak for that because I don't know. I've only played a handful of games and I'm not really comparing it. But the fun factor is seriously high in that Master Edition. It really is. It's super high, super high. So I've been playing the Baseball Master Edition. Some more football. Apple football was on the table the other day, having some fun with that. What else did I play? I had I think I had some season ticket baseball going the other day, and then I played some payoff pitch. So doing a bunch of little things. And, I picked up game-winning drive from Downey, 1977. I picked that up. I don't know why. I'm on a 1977 kick right now. Usually it's 78, 79, but I'm on a 77 right now. And I played a couple of games of game-winning drive, and, boy, that's a fun game. It really is. It took me a couple minutes to get the score sheet correct because I forgot how to fill it out. But once I got in the groove, I was like, okay, now I know how to do it. And played a couple of fun games with 1977 game-winning drive. So, yeah, it was kind of fun. I had some time off, so I was able to play some of the games I wanted to play. I probably even got some Apple Hockey in there somewhere, or Hockey Bones, I forget. It's just been, I had like 7 or 8 days off, and so I hit the table pretty hard with a bunch of games and just playing a whole bunch of different stuff and having a good time with that. So yeah, so I've been, I think I played some Strat Basic too, because I went back to that 1984 community project and did a game or two in that as well. So that's been kind of fun as well. So yeah, so a good bunch of gaming I get in over the holidays. Now I'm back to work, and so I got to try to squeeze gaming time in is where I am right now.
Yep.
So what's been going on with you?
Been setting up for my 56 replay for Major League Baseball, which starts Monday. Actually did the uniforms today, as a matter of fact. Did a couple just practice games with the new version. I think since we've been with you to talk about that, we lost Ricky Henderson, so did the Ricky Henderson tribute game. And so I let some of my more loyal viewers, you notice that Gardner didn't have anything picked out for the couple weeks in term there. But so my more loyal viewers got to pick some things they wanted to see. And so we did a Nolan Ryan game the year in 1970, speaking of 77, where he walked 204 in real life. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
He faced 1,200 batters, and I think I did the math between the hit by pitch and the walks and the 300-plus strikeouts, and 550 batters never made contact. That's just crazy. Absolutely crazy.
I was on Baseball Reference, which, that's basically, Playboy for adults. It really is, and I live on that site, and I would go through and I see the games I want to play and I look at the stats, and sometimes I don't realize how long people played. I was looking at Jacques Plante the other night, didn't realize he played as long as he did, and then
he played forever.
Yeah, I was looking at Nolan Ryan, and I was like, holy cow, he pitched a long time with a lot of teams, and he was good the entire time. It's not like he had this huge drop-off in the middle of his career. He was still smoking them, well into his late 30s, and even in the 40s, I think he was pitching.
Mid-40s. He struck out 5,712 batters.
It was fun looking at his, Baseball Reference page. It was like pretty impressive.
So what is Ryan? So I just picked an exhibition game. They played Detroit because California and Detroit had equal records. So we're playing at the Big A, and Ryan struck out 9. He walked 6 and got thrown out of the game.
Oh, that's right. He got thrown out in his own.
He got thrown out. Not a tribute game. And I believe Detroit won. So I got thinking. 1987, I mean, this was kind of an awakening of why some stats don't matter, such as wins for a pitcher, because Ryan went 8-16 in 87 for the Astros and had an earned run average that he led the league He led the National League in ERA and the strikeouts, but he only won 8, and he finished 5th in the Cy Young. Steve Bedrosian, the closer for Philadelphia, won the Cy Young Award that year. So I said, fine, I'll do a Ryan game from 87. I did it Monday night against the Giants, who won the division that year. And wouldn't you know it, because you'd think that Nolan Ryan had died from the way that that performance was, because Ryan got torched. Absolutely torched. And really, who wants to watch it? Yeah, unless you're an Astro fan, that bullpen wasn't that great. So, trying to prove that, no, Nolan Ryan should have won the Cy Young. No, Ryan got his pants lit up. What was the other game I did for, we did a few of those by request games. I did one for JT Dutch. That wasn't the Ryan game. I did 62 Mets and 24 White Sox, and the White Sox did about as bad as I thought. JT Dutch is a huge Ron Say fan, but it wasn't a Ron Say game. Oh, no, it was a hockey game.
We did a hockey game.
I did a few of those. It was the 82 Braves and the 82 Brewers in an alternate what-if World Series game. That's the one that JT Dutch wanted, because the Braves won the division that year. And Rick Mailer ended up pitching, and I had him pitch for the Braves, and they did pretty well. I've been playing a bunch of Strat hockey on the computer, and dovetails nicely into the topic at hand when we get there. And so yesterday I'm playing a game from my freshman year of college, which was the first year that I really started to watch hockey on a serious basis, because a lot of the people I went to college with were from Southern New England and the Bruins. And so there were a lot of Bruins and Whaler fans. So we got both of them on cable up there. And so I had playing a game between the New Jersey Devils and the Hartford Whalers. Okay. Now, there was penalties all over the place. Every time I pulled out that set to play, it is penalty city. I think the Bruins had a game with 7 power plays and all that. It's just like, okay, so forget your line rotation. Everyone's on the ice, whatever, because there's just so many penalties. So late in this game, New Jersey ended up beating Hartford 3-2 in Hartford. I had something I'd never seen in the 35 years or so I've been playing Strat hockey off and on. I had a 9-minute penalty, matching 9-minute penalties. I forget the players. They both had AA penalty ratings, so this as high as you can get. And so on the super advanced chart, one of them rolled a 20. And so it was coincidental major and matching double minors.
It was David Maley and Ed Kostelik.
So Maley from the Devils and Kostelik from the Whale.
9 minutes, yeah.
So there was no power play, and I'm not sure in the out-of-the-box version of Strat, they do have an alternate penalty chart that you can do, but I don't do any of the max rules, whether you can get a game misconduct. I mean, and so I asked you, and you had never heard of, obviously when you get a rare fight in Strat, usually it's either matching 5s or it's a 7 and a 5. And so there's a power play involved. But I've never, ever seen or heard of matching 9-minute penalties. Yeah, and in the era, different. It's still 5 on. No, it's 4 and 4, I think is what the way I had it set up. So have you ever heard that 9-minute penalty?
I don't know if I ever did. Usually it's 5 and 10.
Right.
It's not usually, or 5 and 2, but to get 5 and 4.
5 and 2. I mean, would you ever even think of assigning?
Oh, man.
So obviously, it's, the major was for fighting.
Yeah. I don't know. It's a weird number to get, but it's fun when you get those numbers. Strat does a good job with some of the penalties there. It really does.
I was playing earlier. I think it was, I don't know if this was, I don't think it was Strat. It was something that popped up. I was doing the Flyers and the Bruins. Maybe we were looking through some stuff on reference or whatever it was. Oh, I think you had played a Flyers and Bruins game. That's how it came up. I think in Bones. I think you were playing some Bones and talking.
No, I played Flyers. I played Flyers somebody, and I just wrote that down. I wanted to talk about the hockey Bones because I had a listener on the show. He goes, "Hey," he goes, "I just bought a couple of Bones season off a drive-through." He goes, "And there's too many penalties." He goes, "I'm looking to sell them," so I bought one of them from him. I said, "Okay, fine, I'll buy one that I don't have." and he was complaining about how many penalties there were. And then I played a game, Philadelphia somebody. I don't even remember who it was.
It was the Kings. Philadelphia and the Kings.
Oh, yeah, because I wanted to check the Charlie Simmer card, right?
Charlie Simmer, right.
Yeah, so I played and play the Flyers, and I got like 8 penalties in the first period, and I was like, oh, man, this is just wrecking the game, and then I got a few more. So I ended up like just ignoring penalties because I was just so sick of it. It was just not fun, and so I was like, yeah, I see where this guy's coming from. You can get a lot of penalties in Hockey Bones. And then, me and you sat down and you went combed through the stats. It's like, no, that's about the right amount of penalties for the game. And so never question Hockey Bones. It just does everything so correct. The penalties.
You figured that Philadelphia spent an average of 26 minutes a game in the box.
Yeah, which is more than half the game.
And you know what? I found out, I saw this yesterday or the day before. The Flyers had a stretch that year, 80-81, where they did not lose for 85 straight days. It was a bunch of ties. There's no overtime then. So not only did they, because you asked at that point, how does this team keep winning if you're always in the box? Well, 85 straight. It was like 28 game streak where they didn't lose.
Yeah, it happens. That's why sometimes you just got to trust the game. And I know we look at, it's just blah, blah, blah. But I mean, and that might, kind of spill into what we want to talk about too, is how real do you want it to be? I mean, is it fun getting all those penalties and stopping the game every 2 minutes for a penalty, even though that's kind of how it really went? Or do you want to just get through the game?
I think that we just kind of look through with some rose-colored glasses with some of this stuff and go, oh, no, that's what really happened.
Yeah.
So the last thing I want to talk about playing is I bought Lamborn Games in the UK has redone their website, and I've bought a few things from them. First was Cricket World, and I owe them a video for that. They have a system of where you buy the game rules and some data, and then they tell you, kind of like Play to a degree, how to rate teams. So cricket, it's national teams for test matches, 5 days of intense stuff. And I got some questions about that, but I played one of those. I'm not going to go through the results, but let me just say that the ending of that was a lot more intense than I expected. One team I thought would just absolutely just bludgeon the other. And the team that was well behind after the first round almost pulled it off. And if you want to know more, ask, and I'll get into it. But
so when they broke for tea, it was a close game.
It got to the last day, and one team nearly choked it away. There was tea involved. There usually is if you're here. So. They also have, and I got to try this out, a new endurance racing module for their basic car racing game, which I bought, with pre-filled out sheets. So you can go ahead and play them right away, which was very good.
Nice.
And I bought the small level soccer game. So I spent some money there. I figured out the soccer game. They're the ones that they think that you need playing cards to play. And so I avoided it. You just need dice.
Oh, good.
You just need something to tell you whether odd or even. So essentially, they're using the cards as a decider die.
Oh, I see.
So it's not that. Don't hesitate to do that. You don't really need the playing cards. Just kind of give it a little more variety, but they're more looking for the suit of the card or the color of the card as opposed to the jack of clubs meeting X amount. So we'll figure that out. So again, I've got all sorts of oddball stuff that I have in my collection.
Those are good palate cleanses, instead of just playing the same old, you go out and you play something kind of strange, and it's really fun. So,
and I've been doing some just, stuff to keep me occupied while we're offline, doing that. Some 78 American League Strat Advanced with certain teams. I want to do a project on my own that, but again, because you asked this, and speaking of low energy mailbags, you asked, do I do anything that's, not project or one-offs or for that. And I'm trying to find the right thing. Trying to find the right size thing that is a manageable project that's not overwhelming but remains fun. Because as we all know, like, oh yeah, it's just like with the new girlfriend or boyfriend or whatever. Everything is so exciting until they leave hair in the sink, or what do you want for dinner? I don't know. What do you want for dinner?
Yeah, you get that. So we get all excited to start something. That's why I've been really focusing on the Dave's Classic Rewind, where I go back and I pick one game from one season and play it in whatever game engine I have, and that way there I can play the game engine. I can play the teams, play a season, and that's what I'm going to try to concentrate on this year. And I have a couple of small products off to the side I'll be doing. And trying to wrap up some of last year's too. But yeah, I'm guilty. Raise his hand. I'm guilty about starting a million projects because I get all excited and then never finish them. So I have to realize that. I have to.
But there's nothing wrong with that. I mean,
no, there's nothing wrong with it. But I just feel like I like to finally complete some of these things. So I need to take on some different things. Either that, or I've really just been enjoying going back in time and playing the odd game here or there. And having no commitments to that, to anything else. And someone had a good suggestion on Facebook. They put up a picture of the team that it lost, was it 18 games in a row or something? Baseball teams that lost 18 games in a row.
Yeah, right up your alley, yeah.
And they're like, maybe Dave could come on here and play some of these teams and try. And I like that idea. So I got to see what seasons I have on that list, and maybe go to that 19th game that they actually won and just say, okay, here's the game they broke the 18th game losing streak. Can I win this game? Yeah, one of them was the Spiders. There was one or two seasons I did have, and the other ones I didn't. So I got to see what game I could do that in.
The longest losing streak I think was above it was the 1889 Louisville Colonels.
Yeah, there was one that was really bad.
Horrible.
But that might be fun to do. Go back and pick certain games in time for a reason, not just kind of out of the blue. But like, okay, this game here, can they break their 18-game losing streak in this game? Play that game. This team here, they need to win to get in the playoffs. Can they win this game? So just instead of playing a project, kind of go back in time and jump into a game that has some kind of significance one way or another, and then play that game and see if I can see how that team does, for whatever they need to do, win or lose or get 3 hits or, this guy, I don't know. But I just thought, instead of just kind of picking a random game, which I will still do, I'll find a game that has some meanings. Okay, here's the game here. This is going to be the turning point for this team, blah, 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 blah. And have some fun that way.
Yeah. Before we get going on the topic of the show, I want to give a shout out to Mark Shaw, who is collecting or has collected hundreds of ballpark images. If you watched my stream yesterday, the Kansas City A's ballpark, that's one that he has done some stuff with. And so all of the images I'll be using for 56, because it's harder the further you go back to find a good usable panoramic shot of a ballpark that you can put doll it up to use in whatever game engine you have a choice. And so I used, when I did the Nolan Ryan game, a picture of the Big A with the scoreboard out in left field. And with Kansas City, I did I'd never done a ball game from Municipal Stadium there. And the game, actually, PC defaults to the one in Cleveland. It's not even the one in KC. So shout out to him. He's the one that does all the work. He's done some color correcting and AI correcting for that. And so it'll be his handiwork that you see all in 2025 as we replay 1956.
It is super nice to use those, because it just kind of puts you more of in the mood for it. When I go back and I play a game from the 70s, if I'm playing on the computer, and the card image or the ballpark image is like, modern day Yankee Stadium or modern day, wherever, it's like,
right.
Like it's just, I'm playing 70s ball here, and I don't need to see, triple deckers and all this, modern technology here when I'm supposed to be playing in the 70s. So when I did the Spiders, I found like 1 or 2, maybe 3 stadiums, I think, that Strat had that just were old stadiums. They were not the correct stadiums, but they had that old feel.
Close enough.
And I was like, for $18.99, even though some of them had light towers with lights on it, and so we kidded around like, yeah, those are going to hold lights one day, and so we kidded around about it. But it does, put you in the mindset of like, here we are, we're back in time, and we're not in a modern day ballpark.
I don't want to do a game from Fenway from 1956 with people sitting in the Monster. was okay for 88.
Yeah.
But for 1956, I don't think anyone had ever thought of that.
Yeah.
So
it's funny when you go back and see some of the real old pictures of the ballparks. There was a couple of World Series pictures that I saw that had no fence. It was just people standing around the outfield. I'm like, well, what happens if the ball gets hit into the people? You know?
Yeah. So,
but anyway, all right. So we'll get on to our topic. One more thing of note, Jack, and I want to bring up is
sure.
This season, and hopefully sooner than later, we have some people who are going to come on and not only talk about their games, but they're going to walk us through playing their games.
Nice,
and we have,
those.
the Dynasty League Baseball, Pursue the Pennant, that comes to mind. I did an unboxing on that. I can't really wait to dive into that. But what I want to do is I want to have Mike come on and walk me through it. I'm going to take out the game, and so he's going to kind of we'll start it up, we'll lay out the teams, and I think that'll be kind of fun this year to get a little bit more interactive with game developers, and we'll even maybe have some people back on that have been on the show before to say, hey, let's walk us through your game. We're going to play a game. I'll put the overhead camera on it. I finally have a nice overhead camera that has some great detail on it, and so we can show off games and show how to play it to people. So instead of just talking about it, we can play it. I know we have a football game, too, we want to show off, and I know we're due to have Grant on and talk about his hockey game, maybe even his football game, too. So, so hopefully this year is going to be fun where we get some developers on and we kind of walk through their games here as we talk to them as well. So, so I just want to make that note as well for 2025. All righty. Do you know the difference between Iron Man and Aluminum Man?
No, what's the difference, Dave?
Well, Iron Man actually gets the bad guys. Aluminum Man just foils their plans. Nothing? Nothing? All right, here we go.
Send your cards and letters too.
All right, so the topic of today here in episode 250 is kind of a response to a question that somebody had about season ticket football. And the question was something to the effect of, why is it on passes that I'm not checking the quarterback every single time? Mm-hmm. And, the thing was, well, because he goes, doesn't matter if I'm passing it or Tom Brady's passing it, that there's no quarterback check. Now, in the latest Sports Sim magazine, S.T. Patrick was talking about season ticket football with Clay Dresslock. Okay,
right,
Clay,
right.
He was interviewing him in the magazine, and Clay kind of addressed that issue. He says that he wanted to have the quarterback check 25% of the time. Is kind of how it breaks down. So you need to on any given play in his game. If it's a pass play, you'll be checking the quarterback for something.
There's four pass plays, right?
I believe so. Was it the short, medium, long, and screen?
Yeah.
So on pass plays, there's times you check the quarterback. There's times you'll check the receiver. There's times you'll check the defense. So there's different things that happen in that. And I thought he said it was a 25% was one of the things I think he was using there for some reason. But it's you think about that, and you're like, And it kind of caught me off guard. Why are we not checking the quarterback every single time he throws a pass? And then it got me thinking about, strat baseball. And it's like, well, half the time it doesn't matter who's pitching, and half the time it doesn't matter who's batting. Right. You're going to get a result. And so we kind of got talking about that. And it's just, what is the answer here? How come we don't check every single player involved in a play on a play?
Because I think it'd take forever to play. I think that is one of the complaints against the APA Master game. Okay, so you check the pitcher and adjust the grade, and so the batter gets adjusted accordingly, and then you hit a ball to the shortstop. I'm not knocking the game here at all, and then you check to see whether the shortstop made the play or the first baseman adjusted. And again, I think it kind of comes down to how fun is it? Now, again, anything that involves cards and dice or paper, a non-computer game that generates a random number of some sort, has its limitations on what you can and what you can't do with it. And the more involved you get with the game, I mean, with this, for instance, in strap baseball and a super advanced fielding check, you're running two checks to resolve one play. Does the fielder get to the ball? for instance, and even if he doesn't get to the ball, is there an error that's following? Now, it gets to be routine, as you'll find as you play more of the Appa Master game. It's not really an issue. But again, are you there to have fun, or are you there to, how involved do you want it?
Yeah, I mean, do you want to check the pitcher on the pitch and then the batter on his end, and then if it's hit, do you need to check how far the ball went, and then the speed of the outfielder to get to the ball? Then if he can get it, what's his arm to throw it back in? And do you check to see if the cutoff man drops the ball? Then go back to the batter to see what his speed is. I mean, again, at what point do you have to do all of that to resolve a ground ball to short or a single to left? I mean,
right.
As a lot of developers we have on, they say, look, it's a game. You know what I mean? It's a game with cards and dice, and it's limited. It's not going to be 100% realistic every step of the way. So, the games are built in such a way that, here's a hit to short. We're going to resolve it. And, yeah, sometimes it doesn't matter what the speed of the batter is. And sometimes it does, so depending on how you read it. In Appa Master, there's a couple of times where, or even Appa Basic, it says, a fast runner gets here and a slow runner doesn't.
Right.
Or something like that. Even in the Appa Master, sometimes it's a hit to left, except if the guy's a pull to right hitter, so then it switches to a hit to right. And so you get a lot of detail with that, but you do have to stop, and sometimes in the Appa Master edition, you got to read the whole thing, because sometimes it's like, hit to left, here's the number, how deep it was, the left field is going to throw it into shortstop. Except if it's a righty batter, then it's going to go into center field, and here's the numbers for that. And, oh, by the way, if the pitch is an X, it's a strikeout. So you get a whole mess of things you got to read here to get the result of the play. But I like that. I like having all those things here going on, because I feel like more people are involved in the play.
Right. And I guess the opposite of that, it would be that really doesn't appeal to me whatsoever, because I do a lot of baseball in bulk. And, baseball is a game that just does well as a faster playing game. I do Strat Super Advanced on the computer. Mind you, it can whip out a game in 20 minutes. But again, a ground ball to short for me is a ground ball to short. If there's a fielding check, great. And if not, we're just moving on. But that's a difference as someone who does a lot of one-off games and wants as much experience of that as possible, as to, look, I've got 4 other games that I want to play a 3-game series in the session. I don't really care about whether the first baseman may or may not have dropped the ball. Again, different strokes for different folks. It's not putting down anything that, you've taken to the Appa Master very well. And for me, it's just, I slow down when there's runners on base, because, again, baseball for me can be a bulk game as opposed to just the one-offs. Another good example of that is Strat Hockey Super Advanced. One of the reasons why you are not a huge fan of it is that everything is a decision. It is the one hockey game that requires you to play at a player level. You are the one making all those decisions. Okay, so you got Pat Verbeek. Does Pat Verbeek has an outside shot? Do you want him to penetrate? Do you want him to try to go for the inside shot? Yes. Who's he playing up against? It's not always the same defender. What's their rating? Flip over the card. Does he take the puck away? Well, he may not take the puck away, but there may be a penalty there. So there was on and on and on and on and on it goes. And for me, it flows real well between the ears, because we're all playing for that engine between the ears. But I can see whether just resolve the bloody play. Does he get the inside shot or not? And again, that's a good, the Appa Master Baseball and the Strat Super Advanced Hockey are good examples of everyone is involved in whatever the highlight or the play is that you want there. You can get all that, and sometimes just, does he take the shot or not?
Yeah, and it's a good point. It's like, again, let's resolve the play. If you're playing football and you're passing it to the receiver and you're checking the quarterback rating, then the receiver doesn't matter. Well, he? Doesn't he? It does. Well, he does in the overall scheme of things, but, you're not checking him. So just because you're not checking someone, does it mean that it doesn't matter? I guess what it is. When you're playing, Apple hockey, the out of the box, you're supposed to check the team defense to see if there's any adjustments. If you get the puck and you get a potential shot, a good defense can take the shot away. I like to play, with the Mike Berger adjustments of going against individual players, which is kind of what Master Edition Baseball does, is you're checking individual players, not team defense.
And that's more realistic.
Yeah, and so now if you're coming down the wing and you're going up against, the defense there, you're going up against a Larry Robinson, you might not get that shot away. He might take the shot away from you. Hockey Bones does a good job of it, too. You're checking 3 players in Hockey Bones, which is really realistic at that point.
Yep.
And so, but you're not checking everybody on the ice. It's you're checking to see if you're going to get the shot away or not in hockey. And again, just do I get the shot or not? I mean, I don't need to check everybody on the ice and the coach to see who's yelling the loudest. You put it really good. I want to resolve this play, and I need to. We did a whole show on trusting the game, trusting the engine. And we need to realize that, these people spend a lot of time in these games and they play tested them. And just because it doesn't seem like there's any difference between, Ron Juckett and Roger Clemens on the mound, during that game at some point there will be.
There will be, right.
There will be a difference. That was not on every pitch, on every play, in season ticket football, you might never, ever check the quarterback. It'd be highly likely. But, I mean, you're always checking somebody out there. And, and that's when you create your own storylines, too. So let's just say, you Roger Staubach's throwing to Drew Pearson. And so you roll the dice and you're checking, Drew Pearson. You create the story that, Staubach made a nice play to complete the pass, or maybe Staubach made a bad pass, and Pearson didn't catch it. So if you check Pearson, he that caught it or didn't, it doesn't mean that it's Pearson that dropped the ball. Maybe the ball landed at his feet, if he didn't catch it. So I think things are kind of built in such a way that we can create our own storylines without having to have everybody, get a check every step of the way.
Well, here's the other thing, too. I was thinking of this as, talking about playing baseball in bulk. Then I think that a lot of people, unless they have a game that runs forever, when they sit down to play baseball, it is you have more than one game in mind, or maybe more than one game in a day specifically. And so you're doing 2 or 3 games or whatever it is. You got an hour, you can knock out a couple games. I don't never really, unless you are a super fan of the sport, and not even you, would ever think of doing a back-to-back hockey game, that you're done enough with the football game or hockey game or basketball game or one of those I'm talking a longer play game, not a drive-by-driver or whatever, where you're taking an hour and a half, 2 hours to play a game where that's it. You're trying to get as much of that sport in at one time. And so where, again, there's nothing against playing the baseball or whatever version you want of that. But, if you're going to take an hour and a half to play, you're not going to pull it out again. So, how much of that repetition do you want?
Well, I think that brings up a good point, because there's been so many times over the last few days I wanted to pull out and play a game of Apple football. And I just haven't because of work's been going on. I know we have to record the show, so I have to use the desk to put the microphone and everything on, so I can't set up a football game today to do it. I probably won't get to it till Saturday afternoon or Sunday. So when I'm going to play a longer game like Apple football or Hockey Bones or Apple, any of the longer play games, and I would even maybe bring in the Apple Master Baseball a little bit, although that's still going to be somewhat quick.
Right.
Yeah, you got to decide what you want to do. And the other night, when I played that 1984 Community Project game, I pulled out Appa. I pulled out Strat Basic, and I played it, and it just went really nice because it was a nice quick game, and I knew I could get through it without any issues and the whole bit, and I set it up and played it in 20 minutes or something like that.
Right.
And the thing is, but I don't rush. The only time I did rush is in my 1979 baseball product that I've been doing for quite a few months now. I got the American League solved. I did that in Appa Basic, and I had some fun with that. And then I just wanted to get it done, so I kind of was trying to race through the National League. There was Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. And I says, what can I play really quick? And I says, something? Somebody said, why don't you play Pocket Pennant Run, because you have it on Digital Diamond. You put in the whole 79 seasons, so I don't even need the cards. All I need is the chart to read the results.
Right.
And so I did. I banged it out one night. And of course, it went all 5 games. It couldn't go 3, or 2, whatever, 4. Had to go 5. But I banged that out in a night, which I couldn't do if I was playing another game. But Pocket Pennant Run it plays quick enough that I was able to play 5 games in a sitting. So, yes, when you're talking about, if I want to put a game on the table, it's going to take longer, then no, you plan for that. I don't know about you there or anybody in the audience. Like, I'll sit down with the wife sometimes and, after dinner, we'll watch TV. And I'll look at the TV and it's like, oh, what do you want to watch here? And sometimes we'll go to Netflix and it's like, you got a 2.5-hour movie. And it's like, Nope, not going to do it. And so I'll look, is there anything that's like an hour and 5 minutes, an hour and 10 minutes? That's about what I have the attention for tonight. Or maybe we'll go to YouTube and we'll watch a half-hour video of someone eating a pizza the size of a Volkswagen or something like that. So I tend to not get involved in the longer movies or the longer shows. Like, I won't even sit down and watch a whole hockey game or a whole football game. I'll watch a little bit and then I'll get up and I'll go do something else. So for me, that's kind of what I do when I plan out my gaming. Okay, do I have the time to play this longer game? I would rather play a longer game, Ron, because it's more involved, it's more fun, and when you're done with that game there, boy, I tell you, you've
Well, again, we talk about the story elements of these games, but it really is reading a book. Playing a game for me is reading a book. Do you want to read a magazine article? Or do you really want to read a whole chapter in a book? And again, I think it depends on what you're after, what you're looking for, how much time do you have for that? And again, there is, as we say so often, there is no wrong answer.
No. If I want to bang out a quick game, like I pulled out Game-Winning Drive, and I was like, I want to play some 77. I don't have the time for Apple football. I don't have the time for season ticket. I don't have the time for second season. I don't have the time for Solitaire Pro. That's all going to be a minimum hour and a half to 2 hours to play. I get 20 minutes to a half hour. I played 2 games of Game-Winning Drive in, I think, a half hour. And I had fun. And it satisfied the itch of what I wanted to play that day. And I had some fun with it. And that's something I could look back and say, I might even be able to do a whole season replay with Game-Winning Drive because I can play through that pretty quick, Yeah. And that's something that I might tackle at some point. I think I tried that one time and I didn't get very far, many years ago. But you're right, there's no wrong answer because when I posted about how much I really, really enjoyed the Apple Master Edition baseball game, a lot of people are like, well, I can play 3 or 4 games of Basic in the time it takes me to play one Master. So that's fine. If you're going for bulk and you want to rip through it, then that's exactly what the Apple Basic's for. And I still like Apple Basic and I still will play it. But for me, the enjoyment I got out of the Apple Master Edition, it was far superior to the Basic. It just, in every single way, that game was just great. And again, there's times you get a 13 or 14 and it's a strikeout or a walk and you're done. Or sometimes it's a hit to short and you're done. There's no fielding checks or anything. Sometimes it's just done. It's as quick as the Basic game. And other times, all right, here we go. We got runners on. Here's a hit to the outfield. And I'm like, all right, who's going to go where? Am I going to send the guy home? Or are we going to try to get him out at third? That's when it gets exciting. That's when it gets exciting because you have those plays at the plate. You have those decisions to make. Am I going to throw to third? Is this guy's, oh my gosh, I didn't pinch run for, Rusty Staub. I got a slow runner with like a 5 speed. He's my winning run on second base. So I'm finding that in the Master Edition, I'm paying a lot more attention to the individual players now, which is something I wasn't doing in Apple Basic or Strat Basic. And that's been real fun, too, because now it's like, you're right, I got a slow guy on second. I'm going to go and pinch run, and I'm going to pull out my cards, and who's the fastest guy I get? I don't care if it's a pitcher. The guy who's got the highest speed is going on second base because he needs to come around and score the run. And I did that in one game, and he did come around and score, and the other guy wouldn't have. And that was so satisfying to do that. And even with my pitchers now, I look, okay, who's coming up to bat? I look at the splits. Oh, boy, there's some people that are not good against a lefty. Do I have any lefty in my bullpen that could go up against these guys, no matter how good or bad they are, because these hitters are not doing well against lefties? It has really taken this baseball game to a whole other level. Now, again, you pay for it with time, but going back to the football games,
But do you pay for it though? I mean, that's the thing. It all depends on what you're looking for.
Yeah, I mean, you play the Solitaire Pro Football too, and that takes you a long time to play.
Yeah.
But boy, when you play that, do you feel like you just wasted an extra hour of your day because you played a long game, or do you say, boy, I had an extra hour of football?
Well, I was going to talk about that because the quarterback's better on every pass, and so are the receivers. That's the ingenious thing about that game is that, that combination of Jaworski to Carmichael matters a great deal because you combine the ratings and then read accordingly. But the defenses are generic. Now, for me, I'm fine with that. There's I've gotten my full case of whatever football I want to do for that. But if you are a huge defensive guy, you're not calling blitzes. The individual tacklers don't matter. It's a generic letter. Now, if you get a turnover, you're rolling to see who made the sack and who made the interception, if there's a return or not. So you're, filling the stat roll for that. And you can. I had a game a while ago where Ronnie Lott made a couple big plays for San Francisco, and so you got that. But if you play a game like 2nd and 10, where the tacklers pop up for you, it's not on every play, and so there is a bit of compromise, I suppose. Maybe being the lack of a better word there about, okay, so my offense is fully involved, and that's when I watched a lot of football, how I would take that in. I really don't care about line blocking and all that, as opposed to season ticket or second season where it greatly matters what your right.
Well, season ticket does. There is an offensive line check.
No, right. There are, but so but
it's everyone. So it's like on a run, check the offensive line. So did they do their job? On a pass, did they do their job? In second season, it's individual. So you're focusing on a matchup. So if you're trying to run or even trying to pass, and it says is this guy here a 2 or a 3 or a 1 or a 2, whatever it is? Is there anybody that's a 0? Sometimes you're checking different people. So, again, using that example, if you're checking the offensive line to see if the pass is complete, it doesn't matter who the quarterback is, it doesn't matter who the defense is, and it doesn't matter who the receiver is. This time we're focusing on the offensive line getting their job done. If they can get their job.
Just like in a real game, when you see a quarterback gets blindsided, quarterback doesn't have time to do that. Unless your name was Danny Marino or Tom Brady, or Peyton Manning, someone with a super fast release. If you're blindsided, it doesn't matter how good you are.
But at that point there, I think it's just assumed that everyone else is doing their job, and this is the focus right here. Can these guys get it done to make everybody else's job easier? And I suppose also, that would be the same, with the season ticket. So if you are checking the offensive line, then it's okay. Yeah. We're assuming the quarterback and the receiver are getting their job done, and the offensive line, if they don't do their job, then the play goes awry.
And again, I think one of the things, because the computer games are so good, specifically the action PC stuff with football, is that those checks are happening, but they're happening behind the scenes with that. And again, if you're playing a game from the early 90s in football, and no matter the engine, and you're looking out there, and whether it's Atlanta, San Francisco, or Dallas, depending on the year, and you're looking out and seeing Deion Sanders reading your eyes to see where that pass is going, it don't matter whether it's Dave Gardner. Congratulations, by the way, for being interviewed for the Patriots job. Did you want to talk about that?
I saw that on Facebook. Yeah, my buddy Ray put that up. That's kind of fun. I actually looked pretty impressive with my headset on, didn't I?
That was a good looking shot. Yeah. Or whether you're Dave Gardner or whether you're Bernie Kosar or whether you're Jim Kelly in that case. And again, the compromises need to be made. But I think we get used to, especially as the graphical job this year in Action PC football was enough that you could see the guards pulling.
Yeah. Yeah, you can see the trap opening up. Yeah,
you can see that. And again, is that a case of the game checking for that, or it's a 3-yard play and we'll do that? And only Dave Cook and his hairdresser know for sure. So I think some of it is that we're spoiled. And again, there is no wrong answer, and there are games that will, again, Solitaire Pro, quarterback is checked on every pass, but the compromise being the defense is generic. You can roll against a defense that reads it or whatever. Strap basketball, you can tell the computer that you want to emphasize individual defense as opposed to team defense, which means that it changes one of those black dies. I think it takes out the proverbial D and puts an X there, which so you get more of playing against, posting up against a Kevin McHale or a Wilt Chamberlain as opposed to the generics. And again, it gives the game, it tells the story for you. But there's also nothing wrong with like a regular season basketball where Larry Bird might go a quarter without a shot attempt.
Yeah.
You're putting the puzzle together. It's telling you the story. Again, it really depends on what level that you want.
Even in strat basketball, if you're the guy with the ball and you take the shot, then the defense kind of doesn't matter. But if you're checking the defense, then the shot guy doesn't matter.
Right.
So at some point, the shot taker will matter, and at some point, the defense will matter. But it just can't happen.
Will matter, and at some point, that the individual defense.
It can't happen every single time, and I think that's kind of what we're getting at. And that was the point somebody was making. It's like, boy, I just like to have my quarterback involved more. And again, Clay Dresslock, with his response to S.T. Patrick in the magazine, was like, well, the game is designed in such a way where you will check the quarterback sometimes, the offensive line, you'll check the defense, and you'll check the receiver. So everybody involved in the play will get a check at some point during the game to see if that play works or it doesn't work. And which is kind of what second season's about is, we're going to check a particular player. We're going to spotlight a particular player and see how that goes. Apple football, there is different defenses that can be called, and your receiver has a rating, so you're going to put it in a different column depending on how good the receiver is in the whole bit. So it was an interesting question, but the more that we talk it out, it's like, well, what do you want out of the game? Do you want to check every single player along the way? Do you want to check every single offensive line versus defensive line matchup on a pass play to see if he's protected? Do you want to see how the blocking assignments go on a run? I mean, at some point, you want to resolve the play and get on with the game. Like you said, you put it really well. I want to resolve the ground ball. I don't need to check 100 things.
That was my bugaboo with Status Pro until Mark put it in Digital Diamond was, do I really have to flip 5 cards for a ground ball to short? Now, once I played the game and understood the game, I understood where the mechanism came from, and it's a game I enjoy, but it's at some point, just put the thing in the microwave and hit start.
Yeah. Yeah.
But again, different strokes for different. I mean, there's no wrong answer to that, and not every game is going to fit everybody.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you said there's no wrong way. When the people said, "Hey, I'd rather play 3 games of Basic or 4 games of Basic to 1 game of Master," nothing wrong with that. Play the game you want to play. Just don't be mad or don't dump on somebody that wants to play something different or play a longer game or a shorter game. Because, I tell you, when I first started playing the Apple football, people are like, 2.5 hours for a football game, forget that. I'm like, no, this is 2.5 good hours of gameplay. Right. I mean, whether I would play 3 football games in 2.5 hours or 1 football game, I'm still playing 2.5 hours of football.
Right.
And I feel as though when I play, a game of, Solitaire Pro or Second Season or Season Ticket or Apple Football, those are the four main games I play right now. There's a few others I play once in a while, but those are the main ones. They all take about the same amount of time, within a half hour. And it's going to be a long day. But, boy, I tell you, you're with them every step of the way. You're with them with every fumble, with every stop on third down. It's not, you're not getting the results of a drive. You're not getting a quick play result. You're there making those decisions most of the time, or rolling the dice. Okay, what am I going to do? Geez, I got a 4th and 1. We're down by 10. I'm at midfield. Well, do I go for it here or do I not? And then if you make it, oh good, we got the drive going. If not, like that season ticket football game I played, Buccaneers and the Saints right. Guy gets it and he goes, 60-something yards on a play, and then he fumbles. He fumbled at the 1-yard line. He almost scored on the play. Tampa strips the ball at the 1, recovers it, and then they go on a 99-yard drive. That's something you don't get in some other football games,
right?
The quicker games. you don't get that sense, boy, we just stopped this guy on the 1 from a sure touchdown, and now we got to go 99 yards, and we did. And I was with you the entire way. The 3rd and 7 we converted. The run up the middle for 11 yards. I mean, the entire way I was with you for those 99 yards. And again, sometimes you want to sit and watch that 2.5-hour movie. You got the Lord of the Rings on or whatever it is, and you're like, wow, that was unbelievable. And there's times you don't. So It all depends what you're in the mood for. If you want to play a bunch of games, you play the quicker games. For myself, gaming time for me, I just enjoy my gaming time. And like you said earlier, how much time do you have? Do you have time for that 2.5-hour game? Do you have time for that 2.5-hour movie? Or do you got, half hour or so? How tired you are? The other night I was really tired. I was like, I want to play something, but I'm really tired. So I need to play something short, something easy, something quick that I can just play and enjoy without really having, a lot of headaches because I'm tired. I just can't concentrate. So I would not pull out a full play football game at that point.
Right.
So, but so we want to hear from you on this here. When you're playing your games, I mean, there's times that, whatever game it is, you're not checking every single player on the field or the court or the ice. You're checking certain people, and it does feel like that no one else matters on the play. But other times you are checking that person, and that person does matter. Then some other people don't matter. So I guess it all depends on the game and how it's laid out. And again, we have to trust the game. And I would say a lot of the games that we play, we talked about today, if they weren't working, then people wouldn't be playing them.
Right.
If there was like, well, this is terrible because this pitcher doesn't matter, this quarterback doesn't matter, or this person doesn't matter. If that was the case, then people wouldn't be playing the games.
Even the shorter play games, like a shootout or something like that, you may never roll on Marty McSorley. But McSorley mattered in that game.
Yeah. Yep.
Whether you're doing a penalty check for McSorley or if he had a scoring chance, I mean.
Well, a lot of, you have the team ratings.
Right.
And that's what it means. It's a team rating. So everybody on that team contributed to that rating in one way or another, not just, this guy, not just that guy. I mean, everyone contributes. So obviously, the more, the better guys you have, the more of them, the better your rating's going to be. But yeah, so I mean, so it's just something we wanted to talk about here, something to come up in the community, like we like to talk about from time to time, is what comes up in the community. And it was an interesting question. And then, but the more you think about it is, do you really want to check every single person out on the field or the court or whatever to resolve a play? Or do you want to just take into account that these are the people we're checking on the play, and everybody else is just going to be, resigned to just doing their job out or whatever. So, but like I said, a lot of it's baked in, and some of it's not. And again, that's why I keep going back to the App Master. I like how it really focuses on the individual players. I really, really do like that. And so anyway, I think all this stemmed from me playing the Yappa football game in its entirety. I think that's the longest game I play. Once I did that and found out I could have a lot of fun with these long games, I'm not too concerned about how long it takes me to play a game anymore. Okay, if I have the time, that is. Obviously, if I got to go to work in an hour, then I don't pull out Apple football. I pull out something else. But if I have the time, then I can do the big game, and I'm not afraid of him anymore. And I know a lot of people, time's a big deal. Well, again, you can play 3 games, or you can play 1 game. Are you still gonna have the same amount of fun, or you just want to get more games in? I guess it all depends on what you want, what your project is, and things like that. So again, no wrong answer, but we want to know from you guys as we talk about player ratings in the game, and sometimes you don't check them all on the same play or the same at bat or whatever it is, and how do you feel about that? So anyway, we do have 3 stars of the week back this week, Ron, after we had some interviews and things like that. So let me get going here. So in episode 250, 250 shows, Ron.
That's incredible.
You were so excited at the beginning of the show. It's unbelievable. I don't know how you're containing yourself. But so, all right. So anyway, number 3 star here in episode 250 in no particular order, James Heidig.
Woohoo!
James, thank you so much for supporting the show, and you are number 3 star. Our number 2 star here in episode 250 is Dan V.
Woohoo!
Dan, thank you so much for supporting the Digital Today's podcast. And our number one star, one of our newer Patreons here, we're just going to give his first name. It's going to be Jerry.
Yay!
Jerry, thank you so much for becoming one of our newer Patreons here on Digital to Dice. And again, thank everybody that supports the show and supports our YouTube channels and helps us keep this thing going, because it's not easy keeping it going. And we've lost a lot of good members along the way that don't stream as much anymore. And and it's they're okay for the most part. When I talk to these people, they're okay, but it's not easy finding the time to do this, and things change, and work and life and family and health and the whole bit. So we appreciate you guys helping us keep this thing going. So anyway, so should we wrap up 250?
Absolutely.
So you've been listening to the Digital Today's podcast, episode 250. We talked about getting everyone involved in the game when you try to resolve a play. We want to know your thoughts on that. Ways to get a hold of us. digitaltodice.com is the website. digitaltodice.com. 978-751-DICE is the text line. digitaltodice@yahoo.com is the email. And over on Facebook, facebook.com/groups/digitaltodice. And again, if you'd like to support the show on Patreon, patreon.com/digitaltodice. And again, every week, for the most part, we have our 3 stars of the week, and they're all our Patreon members, as we like to give them a shout out. What are you going to be playing this week, Ron?
Some strat hockey, and my 56 baseball season starts Monday.
All right, Monday. I have another interesting event taking place on my tabletop. If you saw the field goal kicking contest,
that was fun.
That was I don't even know where I come up with that. That was a good time. Pat Leahy of the Jets winning the field goal kicking contest. Who would have thought? And the guy from Buffalo, I can't even remember his name now.
Wanko or something like that.
George
Wanko.
Yeah, he was in the final 3 along with Freddie Cox and Pat Leahy. That was fun. But I have something similar to that coming up on the channel. I'll just tease it now, but I just have to put on the final touches of that, and we'll have that on the channel as well as do some different things here. Mix it up, have some fun. That's what it's all about, right? Yeah. And it gives me a chance. And when I did that jacket, it was 1976, all the kickers. I got to pull out every team from 76.
That was awesome.
And I got to play at least one guy from that team. So that's the goal in 2025, is to get more of these guys on the table, more teams, more players, and it kind of justify my purchases, so to speak. So, all right, so that'll do it in episode 250. I'm Dave.
I'm Ron.
Talk to everybody later.
Bye-bye.